Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're back once again with some professional League of Legends coverage, the latest and greatest news, rumors, speculation, all that good stuff going on in the professional League of Legends scene. Today, more specifically, we're talking about Perkz and a recent interview he did where he talks about his opinions on coaches, trainers, whatever you want to call it in the professional League of Legends scene. And he's got some interesting takes we're going to be going through today. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. I would appreciate it a ton. It's fast, it's free, it's easy. It helps you guys stay up to date on my latest content. And it helps me out a lot as well. We recently hit 5,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I mean, at one point this year, my goal was 1,000 for the year, and then we hit that, and then my goal was 2,000 for the year, and now all of a sudden it's December, and we're at 5,000. That's crazy. Thank you guys so much, but hopefully we can keep it going. Hopefully 6, 7, 10, all of those are in our future, but here we go. So, this guy tweeted out this little interview that he had with Perkz, and it's not in English. A lot of the stuff's in Spanish, so I did take Spanish in high school and college, but so I know the general gist of stuff, but I'm not exactly fluent. I can't be translating stuff myself, so we're going to be using Google Translate. So if there is some things that are off or a little bit incorrect in terms of translation and everything, I apologize, but I'm doing my best. All right, so first up, this guy tweeted out that here's Perkz' opinions on the trainers, I would call it coaches, let's say, is not very soft. I would say, you know, the translation would be, oh, Perkz has a hot take. So here was Perkz' quote, and this isn't... I had to type this into Google Translate because you can't just click the button because it's not a tweet. So we're going to pull that up real quick. Here it is. Coaches are mostly useless in this industry. In traditional sport, the coaches are usually ex-pros, which is happening more and more in League, but at first they were random guys who were stealing checks. It gets better and better, but it's mainly the players who create the strategy, which is a pretty hot take. You know, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to break down. And then next up we have David Alonso, who replies. He says, there are many players who think like Perkz. Most of them do not know how to value what a coach does on a daily basis for them, and their criticism is based on the fact that they do not play League of Legends or do not have a background in League of Legends. They should not respect them because they do not know as much as they do. And then obviously the respect and value you bring to a player must be earned and demonstrated, but starting from the base where you are not respected is not an easy task, especially depending on the mentality of the player. And I completely agree with Lozark LOL, with David Alonso here, that yes, if like it's already super hard for anyone in this scene to be a coach, to be training players, to be a strategic coach, positional coach, head coach, assistant coach, academy coach, whatever. This is all very difficult. Esports and League of Legends esports are still very new. The scene is very young. It's very underdeveloped. We don't have the full talent in there yet because, one, there's not even a ton of money, so people can't really be like, oh, I want to be, you know, like right now people are like, oh, I want to be a football coach, and there's 150 Division I college football teams that can, you know, pay you a livable wage, and there's NFL teams that can make you multi-millionaire, and you know, you have different levels to go through, and you have things to aspire for. But right now there's like 10 head coaching spots, 20 head coaching spots, and some of them pay very poorly, and then you have a job for like 1 year and then you're out of the business forever. It's tough. The scene needs to develop more if we want to get more talent, if we want to get more quality people. So, in general, I don't disagree with Perkz that there has been a lot of people stealing checks. There have been some absolutely horrible coaches, horrible analysts that I don't know how they got jobs. Like, there have been some absolute terrible people. Riot themselves has even hired some terrible analysts. They have some people on the desk, on some of their content, that just have no idea what they're talking about, that have no credentials, that have no ability. But early on in the scene, in anything, you have to take chances on people, especially when there's not a great pipeline for talent where, like, again, in traditional sports, if you're a good high school coach, maybe you make it to college. If you're a good college coach, maybe you make it to the pros. That's not really happening in League of Legends right now. It's just kind of, you apply and we see if we like you or not and we take you, and then sometimes you're terrible and sometimes you're great, but, you know, they have to take some chances. So I don't disagree that Perkz has probably worked with some very terrible analysts, but I would also question him about the fact that I'm sure he's worked with some terrible professional analysts as well, like some former pros who are now analysts as well, that are now coaches as well. I don't think being a former professional or being a former professional player at any level makes you any bit better of a coach. Being a player and being a coach have two completely different skill sets, two completely different strategies, and we see it all the time in professional sports. The best coaches in most sports weren't former professional players a lot of the time. Sometimes they are, and that is a very special person who can have the abilities of a professional player in a sport and then still have the communication skills, the leadership skills, and the coaching skills to be a top tier level coach and player. That is rare. That is more rare than most people would believe. Now, again, I get it. Professional players do have a lot of great information. They obviously have amazing minds for the game. They obviously have a ton of raw talent. But that does not mean they always developed the best, fundamentals. They didn't develop the best practice habits and stuff. Some people are just naturally gifted at things, and some people did have to work their butts off a ton to get to their level, and sometimes those people do make great coaches. But again, the fact that Perkz is just talking down to everyone who is not an ex-professional player, I think is a really bad take. I think it's something that in due time he will come to regret saying that. I think he will work with many amazing coaches, analysts who are able to do more for him in his career than a lot of ex-professional players would have ever been able to do. Now, I get it. He has friends who are ex-pro players that he's going to be working with, like Mithy, and he does respect and value them a ton. And again, I think on every staff, you do need some ex-professionals. You need some people who know what they're talking about, who have been there, done that, who have those minds and levels for the game. But also, it can be extremely refreshing to have people from the outside giving their thoughts and opinions, giving a new perspective. Because, take North America, for example. They've been absolutely terrible in international competition for pretty much the entire existence of the NALCS. Are those really the ex-professional players that you want continuing to churn their ideas and thoughts through the NALCS over and over and over again? That's how you're going to get an echo chamber of the same results, the same things forever. You have an option to bring in outsiders, people in the outside opinion who have not been ex-professionals, but that doesn't mean you don't have eyes. That doesn't mean you don't have a brain. That doesn't mean you can't break down gameplay and positions and drafts. And you can still be a very, very smart person that just for whatever reason never made it to professionals. Whether you didn't have the free time to put into the game because God forbid you worked a different career, or a different job, or had to make money to support your family or something. I mean, not everyone has been able to just grind League of Legends from the time they were 15 to the time they were 23 and just come up in the scene like that. And also, things back in the day, the opportunities were few and far between in the scene. So it also depends what time you came up at. Again, I completely agree with Lozark here that if you're starting from the base where you are not respected, that's going to make it so much harder. Like, Perkz has such a terrible mindset in this instance that he is making his relationships and his coaching with some of these people even harder, and he's really not even giving them a fair chance, because if he's not even willing to value their opinion or try to put in practice the things and ideas that they have to say, then of course they're not going to work out. Of course it's not going to work out like that. And again, this is an opinion that we see all over the place. I mean, there's football players who say the same things. There's basketball players who say the same things as this. But it doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean people should agree with them. It is an opinion, but again, I completely disagree with it. I know a lot of people do. And I mean, just in all kinds of sports where we see the new wave of like analytics and new coaching styles and all this stuff, that's the future. And that is not coming from a background of ex-professional sports by any means. That is coming from an analytical, data-driven, objective just point of view that a lot of ex-professionals don't give, or are not familiar with, or don't have the, this right skill set to be able to break down and implement. So again, obviously Perkz has been an amazing player. He's, had amazing results, but he is still a young guy who can have some dumb ideas, can say some dumb things. And, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm right either, but this is just my point of view, and I know the point of view of a lot of other professionals in this scene, but in all scenes all over the world. Because again, look at all the different sports: soccer, football, basketball. There are successful ex-professional coaches, but being an ex-professional does not make you a good coach, and not having played the sports does not make you a bad coach. It is very, very case-by-case basis. There's unique situations all over the place, and giving any blanket statements like this, giving anything that's so black and white like Perkz did, I think is always very, very idiotic. So, I don't know. I'm a fan of Perkz. Wasn't a fan of this. Those are my thoughts and opinions. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this situation? Should coaches be ex-professionals, or do you think somebody who's not an ex-pro could perhaps be a pretty good coach as well? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay updated on the latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_Germ. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.